So my name is Oliver O'Brien. I'm a researcher and data manager at the Consumer Data Research Centre. In fact, it's nice Bruce mentioned CDRC a few times as our funder. Okay, I'm going to talk about GBFS and MDS and some use of those formats in relation to the new personal mobility formats that are starting to appear. Just a quick sort of show of hands. Who here has heard of GBFS? Okay, or MDS as well? Okay, good. I'm not going to go into obsessive technical detail about those formats, but I'm going to introduce them in the context of this presentation on bike sharing and those other forms. So I'm going to split this into 5 sections. I may skip over a couple for time, but I'm just going to do a general introduction. I'm sure many of you will be familiar with bike share, e-scooter share, and some of these other new emerging forms appearing. I'll just mention the sorts of work that we do with it at CDRC and at UCL, and then I'll touch on those data standards, have a general outline of the current situation of bike share in particular and data, which is far from perfect, and then finally sort of discuss about where we could be going with these data sources. So as I'm sure you'll all be familiar, bike share is actually been around for a while. If I just take, I'm going to take London as a the London context, because obviously we have several bike share systems here in London, and it's a good city to frame this this discussion. Dock-based systems are the sand-handler cycles that you see in London everywhere. They've been around for 9 years. Dock-based systems in general have been around for 10 or 15 years now. Generally, they require large amounts of public money to set up, and therefore you could argue that the availability of having data on how these systems are being used is useful in order to be able to hold those public funds and make them accountable. Dockless systems are much newer. London has got several dockless systems. I'll just mention those shortly. Generally, dockless systems don't use public money. However, they do still use the public highway, public assets. Therefore, there is still a role for their data to be available for academic study and for policy study to understand how they're using the public realm. And finally, electric assist systems, which can be both of these categories. These are more expensive. But they open the bike share possibilities to more in terms of accessibility to new forms of mobility. It's an extremely competitive market right now, and as I say, London is also seeing some. In fact, this table here essentially outlines the myriad of systems that are in London. They all have their own very distinctive colour, and I've coloured this table according to those colours. So if you see a brightly coloured bike on your visit to London today, match the colour up to this table and you can understand what it does, essentially. Beryl is launching on Friday. I literally heard this morning they put out a press release, but we've already got Lime, Jump, Mobike, Free Bike, Sand-handler cycles, and in the suburbs, Next Bike as well. So London is an interesting place to be right now to study bike share systems and these new forms of personal mobility, because there's an awful lot of companies trying out essentially on the public to see whether they stick. Okay, so e-scooter share. Interesting, of course, e-scooters are not actually allowed, or rather the so-called personal light electric vehicles are not actually allowed on the UK public highway or pavements, but you do actually see plenty of them actually zooming around illegally. There's plenty of companies who are very interested in introducing these to the UK streets because they've been enormously successful in Europe and America. Generally, where both e-scooter share options and bike share options are available, e-scooter share is far, far more popular than the bike share. So in Paris, for instance, although the Velib is still reasonably popular, the mobikes, for instance, are essentially sitting abandoned in Paris, and a lot of people are using these e-scooter shares everywhere. You can actually try an e-scooter in the Olympic Park. There's a very, very small-scale trial there, and the reason why that is able to exist is because the Olympic Park is not public land, technically, and therefore the landowner is able to grant this trial happening, but you can literally only go between 2 locations in the park. Okay, so at UCL, I've been collecting bike share data for 9 years now, which is essentially the launch of a London system. Every 2 to 10 minutes, we grab data on, I think, currently around 450 or 500 systems. We've accumulated 30 billion data records right now, roughly a terabyte of data. That's 111,000 distinct docking station locations around those 5 or so systems. Say there's slightly more than 500, but we don't actually show the data for all of these. As a rough sort of idea, this is essentially 25% of systems in the world. 50% of systems of the world don't actually have data freely available or open, and so in order to obtain that data, you need to come to various data licensing agreements with the providers. And 25% are perhaps of not academic interest. This is not a core part of what we do at CDRC, and therefore with very limited time in terms of being able to accumulate and manage these data sets. And as you can imagine, if you're dealing with 500 or so data sets, many of which are using their own unique formats, the administrative workload in just trying to keep those feeds working is quite significant. But we have a website, my own website, bikesharp.com, which essentially maps the live information for those 450 or so systems. At CDRC, one of the key parts of CDRC is to build data infrastructure for sharing data sets. And so quite nicely for this project, we've been able to use our own infrastructure, which we've built to distribute around 50 of the most interesting systems. These are available for academic and bona fide researchers to download the data sets or apply and then be sent the data sets in order to do academic research with them. We do collect some dockless data. As I mentioned, dockless is very much the personal mobility de jour. But as BikeShare does not form part of CRC and not a funded project, our time is limited. But the few dockless systems that we do collect are very interesting. As I say, dockless is more popular than dock-based systems, and the electric systems are not popular than the non-electric systems. So the few that we are collecting have got some pretty amazing and surprising usage levels that we're seeing. So a couple of graphics just showing some of the research that is being performed with these CDRC managed data sets. This is a graph that is in current production by one of our PhDs, showing, I think he's showing here 175 systems. He's comparing between 2016 and 2018, essentially he's using a tadpole plot where the current, or sorry, the 2018 data is shown as the blob, and the line indicates the direction of travel from what it was in 2016. This is a plot of the size of the system in terms of bikes, and then the activity of the system in terms of how many times per day each bike is being used, which is a key activity metric. I appreciate the labels are too small to see here, but one at the top is Rio. You've got London just sort of sitting there in the middle, not really doing very much. Paris had a controversial and rather disastrous change of its operator a couple of years ago, which is why it's plummeting down. So not only are there fewer bikes in Paris, but of those fewer bikes, they're being used less as well. So it's doubly bad for them. Whereas San Francisco is going upwards, as is Helsinki. The Helsinki system is a very interesting study. And Barcelona is also in the process of, or was recently in the process of changing its operator, which is why its usage seems to have dropped. So yes, so left-hand, so the y-axis is the TPD, trips per bike per day. It's essentially the activity measure. Utility, you could say this is absolutely key for, putting these things on the streets. Are they actually being used? Are they actually performing a public benefit? And this is some external research, which is a successful result of a CDRC application. It's gone through, we've supplied the researcher with the information, and he's published this really nice white paper showing basic spatiotemporal analytics of the bike share system that is in Dublin. Okay, just check my time. Okay, so as I say, I'm not going to go into great detail on GBFS, but for me, certainly as a researcher who collects this data set, is very important because it is an attempt to standardize the formats of bike shared data, and actually it's being extended to use for dockless bike shares, electric bike shares, and others as well. It's actually developed in North America by the North American Bike Share Association, which interestingly is an industry, not academic or local authority-led body, very much because they wanted to see their data sets incorporated into multimodal transport planners, for which you can read Google Maps. And of course, GBFS is based on GTFS, which was actually created by Google to try and manage the world's public transit timetables. It's being extended, as I say, to cover dockless bike share. However, it is a relatively loose standard, and therefore we're starting to see some operator-specific tweaks, which means it's a standard, but it's not quite a standard. So not a tight specification. Interestingly, though, local authorities, particularly in America, but some other places as well, have started to mandate that this is the format used for supplying data both to the local authorities but also to the general public. So, for instance, Austin and Washington, D.C. have insisted on this, but some other cities out in North America have also insisted on the use of GBFS as the format for, if you want to operate in our city, you have to be able to publish data and you have to publish them in this format. For what GBFS actually looks like, this is the page showing jump bikes in New York City. They provide this service. Jump is owned by Uber. but they bought SOBI, or social bicycles, which is why it says SOBI GBFS service there. And I've just simply clicked on, and you can actually just see essentially the locations, current locations, and bike IDs of all the dockless jump bikes in New York City. And the second one is, yes, so sorry, the one at the top is simply saying what data is available, such as the area of the system, when it operates, how much it costs, and one at the bottom is the actual location. It's not just North America. This is the Just Eat Cycles, I guess their sponsor there, in Edinburgh. And they are using a Norwegian firm called Urban Sharing, and they have a fantastic technology platform. Right from the beginning, they release their real-time feeds as GBFS. They publish their journey data with a 24-hour delay, and they have lots of developer documentation about how you'd integrate these data feeds into your apps or into your research or other platforms. MDS is an extension of GBFS. It was developed by the City of Los Angeles. Essentially, it is designed to accommodate e-scooter share and other forms of personal mobility devices beyond bikes, along with shared ride providers such as cabs and such like. But also, interestingly, it can also specify historic information as well. It has a specification not only for the operators, and so it should say MAAS, operators air mobility as a service, but actually also local authorities themselves. So essentially, it's a standardized way for local authorities to say, here's where you're allowed to have these bikes stored, or here's where you're not allowed to have the bikes operated. You know, you're only allowed to operate this number of bikes. You can only operate in this particular area. It's doing that in a standardized way. Operators don't need to have the same conversations with each local authority as they expand their systems. Okay, so the current situation, in global perspective, GBFS is widely adopted in America, but is quite sporadic elsewhere. Fair enough. Like I say, it was a standard that has been adopted, been specified by the consortium of operators in the United States. In London, we have a doctor's code of practice, which TfL put out quite quickly following the sudden appearance of O-bikes on the streets of London in September 2017. Interestingly, that document has been adopted by other cities around the world. In New Zealand, in particular, it's almost word for word, but, and this is frustrating as a researcher interested in UK data in particular, they have added specific open data requirements which we don't have in the UK. And of course, those open data requirements say you've got to supply the data in the GBFS form. In Europe, we have a platform for bike sharing systems, European bike sharing systems. Interestingly, they were very hostile to dockless. They published this policy document called Unlicensed Dockless Bike Sharing. But even the title suggests that there was a bit of a, they had a sort of bit of an agenda. However, they've been quite quiet since. PEBS is essentially in a way, the equivalent of the NABSA in the US for developing this format. But so far, they are well behind the curve in terms of development of data specification of formats for mobility. So this is the current situation. Each dot is a city that I'm currently mapping in my bike share system. Green is a city or system which is supplying data in GBFS. Blue is Nextbike or B-Cycle, who I believe for almost all their systems do to supply GBFS as well. However, I'm just using their existing format because it was available before they've entered GBFS. And then red is the bad guys who have not yet released their format in GBFS. And the thing about this is it really does show that in the UK, Western Europe, we are well behind open data formats and standards for bike share systems. America has pretty good coverage now, as does Eastern Europe incidentally, and that's mainly due to Nextbike being predominant there. In the UK, we have a trade body called Como, previously known as Bike Plus Car Plus, but they rebranded recently. They only have, so the UK only has patchy openness of data. Typically, it's not a condition of consent to operate in UK cities here. Therefore, we don't actually see many systems, apart from, as I say, Edinburgh in particular, releasing the data as open data. As I say here, it's a great loss for the UK's open data tradition, and quite surprising because also we have the gov.uk data stores here, the London data store, and etc. So we are seeing lots of use of existing open data feeds, such as TFLs, by private organisations, but no requirement for these systems to actually have integrated themselves. As I mentioned, e-scooters remain illegal in the UK. There's no movement yet, but however, interestingly, There was a position paper put out last week by TfL, essentially saying that they are looking, it was mainly about to do with harmonising agreements across all London boroughs, but also it mentioned the fact they're looking to extend that agreement once it's released to e-scooters, because this depends on the DfT making the form legal, so we're a little bit away from there. This is a quick list of all these systems that I'm currently getting data from in the UK. Green means GBFS is available, red means it's not, purple means other forms of open data are available for those. And you can see in the UK it is a very, very mixed picture. Slightly frustratingly, annoyingly, you can see many systems have non-UK data in GBFS, but not for the UK because they haven't been asked to provide it as such. Why is it a good idea? Well, ease of availability for speculative research, such as the sorts of research that I'm doing at CDRC. A standardised format allows for good comparative work to be carried out. It allows operators to be easily held to account by local authorities. And it allows for straightforward multimodal journey integration. We're already seeing this with Uber, for instance. And finally, some quick examples of multimodal journey integrations. In London, Google Maps will show you options with the Lime system, but not the other 5 systems. So there's 6 sets of bike share systems available in London, but Google Maps will only recommend one of those 6. Uber will recommend a different one, their own one, funny enough, called Jump. City Mapper will recommend standard cycles, Lime or Mobike, not the other 3. And as I say, they all pull in public transport data feeds as well. So for instance, Uber has announced it's going to pull in TfL's public data feeds, but of course they're not going to supply their own bike share data to TfL or others. And that's the end. Thank you very much.